So I'm not going to go over every single question. I do want to touch on a few of the things that you guys were struggling with in class that I saw when you were doing the review today. So we'll start here with um, number 4. So it says which equation best represents the x and y in the table below. Let me zoom in a little bit. So first of all, uh, we have to know how to, the best thing to do in my opinion is to make the equation for this table, because then your answer is foolproof and you'll have the correct answer every time. If you're not good at finding the equation from the table, you should be, but if you aren't, then the next best thing is to use the x values, plug them into each of the answer choices to see which answer is the correct one. Okay, so first of all, I taught you guys that if the x is 0, whatever the y is your y-intercept. Okay, so we don't even have to find the y-intercept. We know that for sure y equals mx plus b. We know for sure that this plus b is going to be a plus 5 because that is a positive 5 when x is 0. So if I look at my answer choices, I can already eliminate this one right here for sure because this says plus 3. And our intercept is positive 5, so it's plus 5. From there, I can look at the change in y, it's plus 2, and then the change in x is plus 6. So I put 2 over 6, which simplifies to 1 over 3. So my slope is 1/3. So I can write my equation as y equals 1/3 x plus 5, because we already knew that already. And so the answer is H. Now, if I didn't know how to do that, or let's say I didn't want to take the time to do that, what I could do is I can plug in each of the x values to see if the y value comes out. For instance, if I plug in 0 into this equation, 3 times 0 is 0, plus 5 does give me 5. But if I go to the next one, if I plug 6 in, if I plug this number into that function, right? 3 times 6 is 18, plus 5 is not 7. 18 plus 5 is not 7, so therefore this cannot be the rule for this table. We look at this one here, if I plug in this 0 into this function, well 0 plus 5 does give you 5. But if I plug in the 6, 6 plus 5 gives you 11, not 7. So again, that could not be my rule. If I plug in the 0 in this function, 1/3 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5. If I plug in the 6, 1/3 times 6 is 2, plus 5 is 7. And then the same thing here. If I plug in the 12 here, 1/3 times 12, 1/3 times 12 is 4, plus 5 is 9. So it does work for this function, so H is your answer. So again, to backtrack, you could, and this looks all sloppy now, but you could find the y-intercept, which we did, 5, and then we found the slope. The change in y was 2, the change in x was plus 6. 2 over 6 simplifies to 1/3, boom, we're done. But if you don't know how to do that, you can plug in the x values into each of the functions to see if the output is correct. If you get this kind of problem, it says which equation best represents the relationship in the graph. When you have a graph, you always start with the y-intercept, okay? Because you can probably eliminate some of your answers based on what this y-intercept is. So if I look here, it says the y-intercept is 3 here. And so that I know y equals mx plus b, this plus b has to be plus 3 because that's a positive 3. And knowing that, I can eliminate A, I can eliminate C, and I can eliminate D. Automatically, I have the answer right here. Just by knowing how to find the y-intercept. You just look at where this line is crossing that y-axis. It crosses at the 3, so it's plus 3. Now, let's say it wasn't that easy. Let's say I did have to find slope, where this is a positive slope, it's going up. I find 2 points here and equal? Looks like it is. So I find these 2 points here, and we go up 1, 2, and we go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I get 2 over 6, which simplifies to 1/3. So my slope is 1/3. So that would be y equals 1/3 x plus 3. I'm sorry. So again, my slope is 2 over 6. That simplifies to 1/3. My equation ends up being y equals 1/3 x plus 3. And again, that's the same answer, B. So first things first, find that y-intercept. Find that y-intercept, we're able to eliminate all the answers. But if it's not that easy, after your y-intercept, you go ahead and find the slope, change in y over the change in x. Rise over run. So this is rise over run. Number 6, I kind of already have the equation here because I did it earlier in class for this packet, but a 7-inch candle burns at a rate of 2 inches an hour. Which equation represents the relationship between y, the height, and x, the number of hours? So you have to know that x equals the number of hours. Number of hours. So x is the number of hours. And I know that this candle starts at 7 inches because it says here 7-inch candle. So that's the initial value. It starts at 7 inches. The problem tells us that it burns. They assume that you know that if something's burning, mathematically, we're talking about subtraction. So put the subtraction sign above the word burns. The candle burns, so minus, at a rate of 2 inches an hour. And it's the same as saying like per hour, or 2 inches every hour, or 2 inches each hour. It's all the same thing. You put that x above that word here, and that tells me that this is 2x. So it's 7 minus 2x. And so that's how we got our answer here. A can't be right because it's burning. It's not adding 2 inches per hour. So that can't be right. This one basically says that it started at 2 inches and it burns 7 inches per hour. That can't be right. And this one says, again, it started at 2 inches and it grows 7 inches per hour. That can't be right. So B is the answer. The distance between 2 towns is 120 kilometers. They're approximately 8 kilometers and 5 miles. So what we're comparing is kilometers and miles. And so a lot of you guys did this in your head, or you understood that you will be dividing. But if not, that's okay. What we can do is we can say that there are 8 kilometers for 5 miles. We know that for sure. It says it here. And then we know that the distance between these 2 towns is 120 kilometers. So what I'm making is called a proportion. And we haven't touched on proportions much, but I do want to give you guys the mathematical reasoning behind the answer you guys got in class. So what we do is we say these 2 ratios are equal. This 8 over 5 is going to equal 120 kilometers over, we don't know how many miles. It says which measurement is the closest number of miles, so over X amount of miles. So we know that 8 over 5 is going to be equal to 120 over X. And again, we haven't gone over the proportions in class, but you did have a few of these on your warm-ups, and you guys understood what was happening. I'm just showing you the mathematical reasoning. It's because 8 over 5 is our ratio. There's 8 kilometers for every 5 miles. Well, then what happens if we go to 120 kilometers? How many miles is that? Well, we don't know. That's why we put the X, right? And so the way you solve this is you would go 8 times X is 8X. And you would say 5 times 120 is 5 times 12 is 60. 600. And so now we have an equation. And the way we solve that is we divide, okay? So we divide here by 8 because we want to isolate the variable, and then we do the same thing on the other side. 600 divided by 8. So 600 divided by 8 is 75, and that's our answer. But like I said, a lot of you guys could do this. You understood what was happening. That's why I gave two of these type questions on warm up, and you guys understood it. But I'm just showing you the mathematical way to go about it. Next up, we have a table. So it says the table below shows the relationship between the number of hours a golf cart is rented and the total cost of the golf cart rental. Okay, so which statement is true about the table? So basically, we have to look at these answer choices and figure out what's true. So, like for instance, it says the y-intercept for the relationship is $50, but that can't be true because this is x and this is y. When x is 0, y is 0, so there is no y-intercept. So that can't be true. It says, this one says the constant rate of change is 25 for 1 hour. But let's see, we go from 0 to 50, that's plus 50. We go from 0 to 2, that's plus 2. So we have 50 over 2, and that equals 25. So yes, the constant rate of change is 25. So that could be true. I mean, that is true, so that could be our answer. D says the table can be represented by the equation y equals negative 25x. It cannot, because our constant rate of change is 25. So our equation is y equals 25x, not negative 25x. It's going up, not down. So that can't be our answer. And then this one says the cost of renting a golf cart for 11 hours is $250. So really what we can do is we can put, because the hours, right, 11 hours, that's the x value. Hours rented is the x. So I can put this x into my equation, y equals 25 times 11. And let's see what 25 times 11 is. It's 275, right? So 275 equals 25 times 11. So this is what this equals. Therefore, this is not true. The answer is C. So basically, you just have to go through and solve for the equation first and then figure out what's true about that equation. You guys did okay with number 9. Number 10, the graph of the line is 1/2 x plus 1 that's drawn according to grid. These are the ordered pairs. So first of all, you have to be able to know or realize what you know already. If you know that this is plus 1, that means when x is 0, the y is 1. So automatically I can eliminate that answer because x is 0, y is 0. Well, that's not true. Okay? And so all the answers are still in play except that one. So we just eliminated one of our answers. The other thing I know is that the slope is 1/2. So now I can look for the slope. Here, this is plus 3. This is plus 2. Okay? That's 3 over 2. That's 1.5. That's not 1/2. So A can't be my answer. I can look for the slope here. From negative 2 to 0 is plus 2. And then from negative 6 to negative 2 is plus 4. 2 over 4 does equal 1/2. So that could be my answer. Over here, we know for sure that this intercept is plus 1, but let's check the slope. From negative 2 to 0 is plus 2, and then from negative 6 to negative 2 is plus 4. So this is also 2 over 4, which is 1/2. So we got to ask yourself, well, what's my answer? Well, we don't know the y-intercept on this one, so we can figure it out, right? Because both of these could be my answer. We can try to figure it out and substitute, but why do that when I know for a fact that this y-intercept is 1? Because x is 0, y is 1. So this is 1/2 x plus 1. So this is for sure my answer because I know the y-intercept here, and I know that the slope is 1/2. Both of these have the same slope, but they won't both have the same intercept. So this one I know for sure is my y-intercept, so that's my answer. But if they did not give me that intercept, then I would have to find the intercept for both of these tables, and then I'll know my equation, and I can pick the one that matches that one. So really, you just really have to know how to find that equation from a table. Okay, so let's move on here. So it says, which of the following best represents the equation y equals 2x minus 2? So first of all, you want to look for stuff you can eliminate immediately, right? If you look at A, my y-intercept is supposed to be a -2. If you look at A, it says x is 0, y is +2. That's not my answer. Okay. So then this one has this has the right y-intercept. This one has the right y-intercept. So these two have the right y-intercept, so they could be answers. Over here, Michael charges $2 per chore. Okay, so he earns $2 per chore, so per up with the x. So he earns 2x at his house, and then he finds $2 and change at the parking lot. So how much does he have? Well, he earns $2 per hour, so 2x, and then he finds 2, so plus 2. Again, that's the wrong y-intercept, right? Because this is supposed to be -2, so B can't be my answer. So always check the y-intercept first, because you can eliminate at least one of your answers just based on the y-intercept. Now, I can go here, since they both have the same y-intercept, I can find the slope. And so I can find the slope of the table real quick, right? From -2 to 0 is +2, and then from 0 to 2 is +2. And so 2 over 2 equals 1. So this slope is 1x. Not plus 1. This would be 1x minus 2. So that is not the right equation. Again, it went from +2 here, +2 there. 2 over 2 is 1. So I can eliminate this one because it's not the right slope. So again, these two have the same y-intercept, but I checked this one real quick and it didn't have the right slope. Therefore, this is my answer. If I wanted to check this graph, I would find 2 points here and here. I would rise 1, 2. I would run 1. This slope is 2 over 1. Or you could say 2. So that is the right slope. Same thing, or no, it's not the same thing here. This one just non-proportional. It says which one has a non-proportional graph. Well, you look for the one that does not go through the origin. This one through the origin. This one through the origin. This one through the origin. So this one would be my answer because it does not go through the origin. Okay, so that's my answer. When it comes to the ordered pairs, you guys did pretty good with those. Basically, you just look for the x values. They can't repeat. So this one has 2, 3, 2. Those twos repeat, right? Not a function. It says which one represents y as a function of x. We're looking for which one is a function. We look here, 3, 4, 5, 2. They're all different. That could be a function. Or that is a function. Could be my answer. This one is 1, 3, 2, 1. 2 ones. Not a function. This one's 4, 4, 4, 4. Not a function. So B is my answer. 14 was left blank on purpose. This one says which situation could not be proportional. If it's not proportional, that means the situation does not start at 0. So A says the number of gallons of water in the barrel is 42 gallons. That starts at 0. Okay, so it's X barrels with 42 gallons of water. It didn't say that 3 barrels have this much or whatever. It didn't give us a number other than X amount of barrels have 42 gallons of water. So A is proportional. B says 850 per hour. It didn't say 850 per hour plus or 850 per hour minus something else. So that is proportional. C says the weight of X weeks of a puppy that gains, the weight in X weeks of a puppy that gains 2 pounds per week if its starting weight, this has a starting weight of 8 pounds, that means it does not start at 0. That means it is not proportional. So that's the correct answer. And let me go through. I'm sorry the video is so long. This should be the last one. I want to focus on this for sure. This situation here, you guys found the 2 points. Cool. The rise is here. The run is there. Okay. I saw a lot of you saying, well, my rise is 1. Yeah, you went up 1 space. But look at the scale. We went from 10 to 20. That's not plus 1. That's plus 10. And then we went from 2 to 4. That's plus 2. So my slope is 10 over 2 or 5. So my equation is y equals 5x. So be sure to pay attention to that scale, okay, so you don't get tripped up. Other than that, you guys should be okay based on what I saw in class. I wish you the best of luck tomorrow. Please study. I'm sorry the video was so late, but I had a meeting during my conference period, so I could not post that video when I wanted to. But again, I apologize. Again, best of luck tomorrow.